Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 5 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 5 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter multiplication. The lessons we're going to cover today are multiply 3 or more numbers up to 2 digits each, multiplication, input output tables, find the rule, and multiply by two numbers, complete the missing steps. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well, right? So here I'm on grade 5 math. The chapter we are on right now is multiplication. Let's just start with the first lesson, that is multiply 3 or more numbers up to 2 digits each. Let's just start with the lesson. What's wrong with this? Okay, so the lesson we're going to start with is here it is. Multiply 3 or more numbers up to 2 digits each. That is 9 times 7 times 11, right? You are going to multiply more than two numbers, so they are 2 digits each, right? So start with the first one, that is 9 times 7 times 11, right? So whenever we have more than two numbers to multiply, you always multiply the numbers in the form of pair, right? Just make the pairs. You have to do 9 times 7. 9 times 7 is 63, right? Now you have to do 63 times 11, that is 693, right? So just make the pair of numbers and multiply them. Let's just start with the test questions. 11 times 1 is 9. So always make a pair of numbers and then multiply them. So you have to do 11 times 1. 11 times 1 is 11. And you have to do 11 times 9, that is 99. So the correct option is 99. Got it? Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, the next one is 6 times 2 times 7. So let's just make the pair of numbers, that is 6 times 2 and then multiply it by the 7. 6 times 2 is 12 and 12 times 7 is 84. The correct option is 84. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, the next one is 2 times 8 times 2. So which is the correct option? 2 times 8 is 16, right? And 16 times 2 is 32. So the correct option is The correct option is 32. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? That is 8 times 2 is 16 and 16 times 2 is 32. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, the next one is 12 times 9 times 2. So just do 12 times 9, right? 12 times 9 is 108. You have to do a 108 times 8, right? So that is 8 times 8 is 12 times 9 is 108. Mm, sorry. 12 times 9 is, yes, 108, right? And 108 times 8 is 864. The correct option is 864. Option number 1 is the correct option. Multiply 12 times 7. You can go for 12 times 12. 12 times 12 is 144. And 144 times 7 is 7 times 4 is 28. 2 carry 7 times 4 is 38. 33 carry 7 times 1 is and 10. So the correct option is 1008. Option number 2 is the correct option. Got it? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Okay, and the next lesson is multiplication input output tables. Find the rules. Let's just start with the next lesson. Okay, what is the rule for this input output table? So basically, just look at the input and output tables, right? They are related. You multiplied the input value by a specific number and you got the output value, right? If you look at this, you have to do 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 2 is 6. That means you multiplied each input value by 2 to get the output value, right? So that means the rule for this table is multiply the rule is you multiplied by 2. Got it? Okay, let's just start with the test questions. You can have a look on the tutorial by yourself later today. They are already solved. What is the rule for this input output table? They are 1, 2, 3. The output is 3, 6, 9, right? So that means input is multiplied by the specific number to get the output value. So 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9. That means you multiplied each input value by 3 to get the output value. So option number 1 is the correct option. The rule is you need to multiply them by 3. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? You have to multiply them by 3. What is the rule of the input output table? So which is the correct option? That's isn't it the same we just did? Yes, again that is 3, right? The rule is 3. Option number 3 is the correct option. The multiplication rule is 3. You have to multiply them by 3, right? What is the rule for the input output table? So which is the correct option? 2 is the correct option, right? Multiply by 10, how? The correct option is 2, because 1 times 2 is 2. You can see here 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, and 5 times 2 is 10, right? So the multiplication rule is you have to multiply each input value by 2 to get the output value. So the multiplication rule is the rule is 2. Very good. The correct option is 2. Okay, what is the rule for this input output table? Which is the correct option? That is, you have to multiply them by 3. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? Option number 3 is actually the correct option. You need to multiply them by 3. Got it? Okay, the next one is, what is the rule for this input output table? So which is the correct option? Which is the correct option? The correct option is 2. You need to multiply each input value by 2 to get the output value. So you need to multiply them by 2. Got it? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. And the next lesson is, the next lesson is mm, let's just start with the properties of multiplication. Which equation shows the identity property of multiplication? So identity means whenever you multiply any number by 1, the number stays the same, right? So that means 1 is the identity, right? Because when you multiply any number by 1, the number stays the same. That is 3 times 1 is 3. 1 is the identity when multiplying, right? Okay, just look at the second example. Which property of multiplication is shown? 1 times 9 times 5 equals 1 times 9 times 5. So on the both sides, the numbers are exactly same, right? Just order of multiplication is different. On this side, you did 1 times 9 first. Here you did 9 times 5 first. And at the end, you multiplied by 5 here and 1 multiplied by 1 here. Both sides must have the same answer. When you have the numbers like this, both sides have the same numbers, just the multiplication order is different, that is known as the associative property. Let's just start with the test questions. Which property of multiplication is shown? That's the one we just did. So which is the correct option? Associative property it is, right? The correct option is associative. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which equation shows the distributive property of multiplication? Which is the correct option? Option number 1 is the correct option, right? Distributive property always involve three numbers. Both sides the numbers must be. Oh no, sorry, this is option number 1 is the correct option. That is the distributive property, right? Distributive property usually look like this: A times B plus C, right? And you solve it like this: A times B plus A times C. So that is option number 1 is the correct option. Got it? Okay, which property of multiplication is shown? 6 times 1 equals 6. Which is the correct option? 6 times 1 equals 6, right? Whenever you have 1 involved, that means that is the identity, because when you multiply any number by 1, the number stays the same. So the correct option is identity. Identity it is, right? The correct option is identity. Okay, which property of multiplication is shown? 0 equals 0 times 4. So 0 is the number that when multiplied with whatever number it is makes it 0, right? So that is known as zero property of multiplication. Multiplying by 0 makes everything 0. So that is zero property. Option number 1 is the correct option. Which property, which equation shows the identity property of multiplication? So which is the correct option? Identity property is option number 1. 3 equals 1 times 3 is the identity property. Which property of multiplication is shown? 9 times 5 minus 0 times 5 equals 9 minus 0 times 5. Which is the correct option? Keep this very important thing in your mind. Whenever you have more than one operation in the equation, right? That means that is known as the distributive property. So here you can see you have multiplication and subtraction, right? So distributive, it is option number one is the correct option. Which property of multiplication is shown 8 times 6 equals 6 times 8? So which is the correct option? That is commutative property, right? You have two numbers, just the order of multi, either you do 8 times 6 or you do 6 times 8. The answer is 48 in both the cases, right? That is known as the commutative property. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is that is multiply by two digit numbers, complete the missing steps. Let's just start with the lesson. Okay, fill in the missing number. You have one step is missing. You have to complete the step, right? You did 7 times 0, that is 10 times 27. You did 7 times 0, and like you multiplied by the one digit, you have to multiply by the tens digit, right? So you have to start 2 times 0 is 0 and 2 times 1 is 2. Just add them 0, 7 and 2. The correct option is 270. Let's just start with the test questions. Okay, fill in the missing number. So you did all the multiplications. You multiply by the ones digit, you multiply by the tens digit. You just skip the adding. So you have to add them. 8 plus 0 is 8, 6 plus 6, 12, 2, 1 carry, 7, 3, 10 and 1, 11, 1, 1 carry, 2 and 1, 3. So the missing number is 3128. The correct option is 3128. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, 53 times 11. Okay, so you multiplied by the ones digit, right? 1 times 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 5 is 5. Multiply by the tens digit. 1 times 3 is 3 and 1 times 5 is 5. So that is 3, 5 and 3, 8, 500. The missing number is 530. Option number 1 is the correct option. The correct option is option number 1, that is 530. Okay, fill in the missing number. So which number is missing? The missing number is, you have to add, right? The missing number is 820. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, fill in the missing number 64 times 94, which is the correct option. You have to multiply by the tens digit, right? So start writing. Below the 9 times 4 is 36. 6 3 carry 9 times 6 is 54, 55, 56, 57. So here you have 57. So that means the missing number is 5760 is the correct option, right? So the missing number is 5760. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, the next one is 22 times 20. So which is the correct option? You have to find the missing number, right? The ones digit is 0. So whenever you multiply any number with 0, the answer is 0. So that means the missing number is 0. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 5 math. Chapter we were working on is multiplication. The lessons we have covered today are multiply 3 or more numbers up to 2 digit each, multiplication input output tables, find the rule, properties of multiplication, and multiply by 2 digit number, complete the missing steps. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session, right? So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you, or either you can join me in the interactive session that would be daily from 4 to 5, right? Okay, that's all for today. If you have any questions related to the lessons we have just covered, you can please ask. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. Any questions? Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.